So, you got Sonic.
I did.
You're pretty happy.
I am.
Yeah.
Put me back 70 big ones.
Sega actually asked me to create the next one, Sonic Forces.
Did they?
Yes. And I was going to be a part of it for a while, and then they showed me the character customization.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And then I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want my name tied to this.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, it's time for the enthusiasts.
Yes! Oh my god!
I like what you did there.
Thanks. What is up, everybody? I am one of your hosts, Will Zabo. Alongside me, the Sonic Mania maniac,
That's nice. I like that.
Jesse Nazario.
Fantastic. Feeling better this week.
You sound a lot better.
Yeah, I'm still a little coffee and sneezy, but man, that cooked my ass.
Yeah.
Talking about Sonic Forces, I want to tell you the saddest story ever.
Okay.
I was talking to my son, because he's a huge Sonic fan too, and I said, who are you going to make for your Sonic Forces character? You're going to make a hedgehog, a fox, and Kinda? What are you going to make? He goes, oh, I'm going to make Sonic Boom. And I walked away from him. I was disappointed with him. I said, you want to make Sonic Boom? You want to make Sonic with a little scarf and the hipster glasses? That's what you want to make?
Did he like Sonic Boom that much?
He only played the ones for 3DS, which
Okay.
weren't terrible. They
Oh,
weren't
okay.
good either. But he's a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember when I was a kid, I got some PlayStation 1 games, like the Buzz Lightyear game, and I thought it was great. It wasn't.
Really? The Toy Story game?
Yes.
I love that game.
Not Toy Story, just the Buzz Lightyear one.
Oh, Space Ranger one.
Yes.
Yep, I do remember that one.
Yes.
I do remember that one. How's your week?
Pretty good. So I made some moves. Well, one, my girlfriend's family came up from Florida, so they stayed with us for the week.
Oh, in your house?
Yeah, they just left today.
Awful.
Yeah, it was
Oh, well, you can't say anything bad. I'll say it for you. Terrible. I tell you, when I have my in-laws over for 5 minutes, I'm flipping out. So I'm like, when are you guys leaving? Jeez. They don't listen to this. We're good.
New job maybe happening.
Oh, yeah, that is exciting.
Just
That's
telling you
exciting.
about that.
Yes.
Have a little more time to myself and the baby and for the podcast.
More importantly, the podcast is important, but I miss you, man.
Yeah, I know.
For those who don't know, we might have amazing chemistry. We're also BFFs.
Yeah.
We used to spend every weekend together until you started working weekends, man.
I know.
You
And
know what I mean?
it sucked, but I'm hoping that comes back. And
you also slept on my futon that one night. Remember that?
I did.
Yes, I cooked your breakfast in the morning.
That was a good night. I enjoyed it. The bacon was
That's what
amazing.
I do. That's what I do.
I also traded in Splatoon 2.
Good
I
for you, man.
I got rid of it.
When you trade in a Switch game, do they like set off an alarm or something and pat you down?
No. A lot of people did ask me, though. They're like, already? It just came out. I was like, honestly, it's not my thing. I mean, I love the game.
How much you get store credit for?
I did it because I looked up online. You get 30 for it right now. So I was like, I offered online for before I traded in. I was like, if anyone wants to buy it, I'll sell it for 40. No one said anything, so I was like, all right, well, I'll take
30 it is.
Yeah, and I didn't want to wait and then it drop in price, and it's like, oh, now I'm only going to get 25.
Yeah.
I was a little upset at myself because I really wanted Splatoon 2 after hearing you playing it and seeing stuff online about it. And I think I hyped myself up for it, and then after I got it, I was a bit disappointed with the online structure, not being able to talk to people. I don't really have friends to play with.
You know what, too? This is a good month. You got Uncharted at the end of this month coming out, which is getting a physical release, by the way.
Yes.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Even I'm kind of like, what?
I thought it was a little weird, too. You got your Sonic Mania came out today. XCOM and Mario Rabbids.
I was just going to say XCOM comes out, the DLC.
Yep. So you're right. So what I did with that money, though, when I traded it in, I got PlayStation money and I pre-ordered Ni no Kuni 2 because that went up for pre-order.
Well, I really like that game.
Yeah, so I'm
That's that JRPG that looks like a cartoon.
Yep.
I played the first one and really liked it.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad. But that's pretty much been my week. Oh, and no, I'll say it later. You go. How has your week been?
I was sick. You know, I was sick from the last podcast. It only got worse.
Yes.
I missed 2 days of work, which everyone was like, oh, good for you. No, they were awful. I'd much rather have been to work. I did beat Kingdom Hearts, though, and really enjoyed it. Like, I was like, man, like, I'm saying this now because I beat him. What was the villain ending boss? Ansem was a fun final boss. I'm saying that now, even though my wife will probably disagree because I was cursing at the TV. But I was like, wow, this feels really good. And I started 2 up, and man, 2 should have stayed in my memory. Not a bad game, but going right off of 1.
I tell people that all the time, and no one ever agrees with me. You're the first person, like, and I told you that when you told me about it while I was pooping one time we were talking on the phone. I didn't tell you I was pooping, but that's what I was doing.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Now I can picture that. I did finish, though, and it finished it in like a day and a half, too. It was a lot shorter than I thought it would be, Rechain of Memories.
Yeah, and you said you loved it.
I really did. I would give it a perfect score. Only complaint is, since it's a re-release, they didn't have much voice acting in it. They did, and then I don't know if they changed actors for Sora or the actor just got older, but it's supposed to take place literally a day after 1, and he's got the voice from 2, that older voice in it, and it's because they had to redo the lines afterwards. Not their fault. I understand, but it kind of ruined it for me because I'm like, wow, he went through puberty in a day, huh? That's crazy. But yeah, the gameplay was like, I can't describe it. It had that cards. It was the best card-based game I've ever played because it didn't feel like a card-based system. Like, you're moving so quickly through your deck, and like you literally, in between battles, you're setting your deck up to make it amazing. And like, I got to the point where all I needed was a summon card to start off with, and I'm like, oh, summon Simba, take out half of everybody, and just one good slash to take out the enemy. It really made me feel like a G. Like, I was like, yeah, this is it. So anybody that didn't play Rechain of Memories because that card-based system, I'm telling you, you won't even realize you're playing a card-based game because how quick the combat is. And I really, really like the structure where it's still open-ended. You walk around, but every time you touch an enemy, like Chrono Trigger, it goes into a battle system. So if you want to avoid that fight, just avoid the enemy. As simple as that. So I just really like the game.
I was actually shocked when you told me that you liked it so much because I was expecting you to tell me you loved 2 and Chain of Memories was the one that you were going to be like, ugh.
I think that's another reason why I was disappointed with 2. I was like, oh my god, if I'm having this much fun with Rechain of Memories. The one I did skip was the one that's in between those.
The video one.
Is it a video one or was another game?
No. It's a video. The 350-something and a half days. That's just a video. You just watch that. And Recoded is also just a video. So you have 2, and then you have Birth by Sleep, and then Recoded, which is the video.
Gotcha. Alrighty. That's my week.
Yeah.
And I picked up Sonic Mania today.
Which is funny because I did too.
What?
Picked up Sonic Mania.
What, did you get it?
Yep, I got it digitally. Let me not make it sound like I wanted to get it. My girlfriend is a big Sonic fan too, which when she found out I don't like Sonic, kind of almost hindered our relationship.
I can see that, man.
Yeah, she almost wanted custody of the baby. And
I told you, man. It's you were 2 kinds of kids growing up. You were a Sega kid, or you were a Super Nintendo guy, man, or a Nintendo guy.
Yeah.
And as much as I have a hard-on for Nintendo now, I was a Sega kid growing up, man.
Yeah, I was a Nintendo kid when I was younger. But so I got it for her. Actually, we haven't played it or anything. It's just installed. But I will say I watched some trailers for it. Looks really good. I saw reviews, and that's actually what sold me on getting it for her. If it got bad reviews like a lot of Sonic games recently have, I wasn't going to do it. But the reviews seemed really solid.
Yeah, the reviews, everybody seems to really enjoy it overall. Even one review I really love IGN reviews. I think they're usually some of the best. And IGN said it perfect. Like, yeah, it has its hiccups. It has some of those annoying things that old Sonic games have in it. And it was like, but even though it's a few stumbles where you're having fun immediately right afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, that's, you know what I mean? You need that a little annoying sometimes when you're playing a game. You know what I mean? Just like I just mentioned, Kingdom Hearts, after defeating Ansem, I felt like the man after that. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because he was pissing me off.
You know what? I also feel like Crash kind of felt that way too.
That game.
While Crash Bandicoot is a great game, it does stumble a couple of times because of how old it is and some of the mechanics that we take for granted now.
You're stumbling.
But you know what? Let's just get into
the news.
Yeah.
I thought we'd never get into it, man. We were just so We were so into ourselves.
I know.
We insisted on ourselves.
We could talk about each other for hours.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
I do. I talk about you at work. Talk about you at the house. Talk about you to the kids. It's weird.
Yeah, I talk about you all the time too, and I try to say that it's like you're like Superman, I'm like Batman, trying to form the Seven. Just doesn't.
How come I have to be Superman? Why can't I be Batman?
You're bigger than me.
Wow, that's okay. That's the game we're playing now. Okay. Woo! I'll take it. I'll take it.
Speaking of forming the Seven, Justice League. It looks like it's getting some rewrites.
Reshoots.
Reshoots. I'm sorry.
Big time.
You are right.
So, first off, I want to address something that's online only because I'm going to share my opinion about it because it's really pissing me off. Apparently, and take this with a grain of salt, from Bat News, they're always the ones that report like reshoots, and they're the first ones to break the whole Henry Cavill mustache thing.
Uh-huh.
They said apparently a producer watched the first cut of it and said it was unwatchable. So that's been everywhere online, that Justice League, unwatchable, first cut of it, unwatchable, blah, blah, blah. I want to say, take that with a grain of salt, because these are the same people that said the same thing about Wonder Woman and also predicted Wonder Woman to be a flop. So.
Which it wasn't.
Yeah. So I really feel like there's that anti-DC kick, and they're really kind of jumping on that bandwagon. And I feel like if you had told me a fan watched it or a screen audience said that, okay, but a producer of the film said it was unwatchable.
Yeah.
So
I do agree with you that, and we've talked about that on this podcast for a while. There's like this stigma against liking DC stuff right now, which kind of sucks. But I'm hoping that Justice League does really well. I'm hoping it kind of changes that.
I'm hoping it's good. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for a Justice League movie. So
Same.
It was like Batman v Superman. Yeah, everybody else hated it. It didn't make me like it any less. I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But let's talk about this reshoot, which apparently the movie was too dark.
Yeah, there are a lot of cyborg scenes are being refilmed.
Yes.
Apparently, it was deemed too dark or whatever, and they wanted to lighten it up. Which really, I'm hoping it was for the flow of the movie and not because they're trying to copy off of
Marvel.
Because at the end of the day, as much as Marvel does everything right, one of the things me and you both complain about is they kind of sneak too much humor into the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't have that moment to ever feel sorry for a character or mourn a character. You know what I mean? Like,
there's always like that real, even when they have a dramatic part, it always kind of gets ruined with a laugh. One of the things I remember is there's a scene in Guardians 2 where he's having that argument.
Spoiler alert.
He's having
That's the case.
He's having an argument with Kurt Russell, and it's a real serious argument, and then he transforms into a famous 80s actor in the middle of it. I'm real intense in the scene, and now you took me right out of it, you know what I mean? And I'm hoping that's not what we go for. So what I'm thinking when they're talking about too dark is, at the end of the day, Cyborg character is a really dark character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was on the brink of death. His father brought him back, you know what I mean? With his technology he really didn't understand, so maybe that's the...
Living a life he didn't choose.
We also seen a lot of scenes in the trailer where you seen him in like a hood stuff. So it might have been like a lot of scenes where it's set up that he has been living on the streets, you know what I mean, for years, and they're kind of deleting that a little bit. So I'm actually really excited to see the direction they go with it.
I'm agreeing with you in the sense that I hope they're not doing it for the sake of feeling like they need to copy Marvel, have more laughs than serious moments. Because I think already you have Ezra Miller as your Flash, who in every trailer so far, you've had him have something witty and funny to say. And I'm okay with having that witty character.
Yeah.
I just don't want the whole cast to be that. Because that was my problem with Guardians 2. I felt like they took that, okay, Rocket and Star-Lord were the funny characters. They made everyone have something funny.
It is true. One of the best things about the trailer is his interaction with these serious characters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what makes it funny. And I do like what I see in a Cyborg in the trailer.
I agree.
The first trailer when he turns to Batman, he says, I didn't think you were real. You know what I mean? That, yeah, of course, this high school student would have been hearing about the legend of the Batman for years. Even now that he's teaming up with him, he's going to say something like that. Or the last trailer we see where he actually gets in the Batcrawler and he says, I'll handle this, Alfred. And Alfred's like, I really don't know who you are, but it's getting me really excited about his character. And I'd be honest, Cyborg is a character that's really recently started coming to light like that.
Yeah, because I think until Teen Titans, that animated series, he kind of was in like
He was always a background character, and when they relaunched the
New 52.
New 52, they made him a mainstream member of the Justice League, which I really like. Actually, in the comics, he's back in the Teen Titans again now, which I think is hilarious. But I'm actually really excited to see that. And also, I watched a lot of backstage interviews, and it seems like him and Ezra Miller have amazing chemistry. Watch this interview where they're opening up their action figures, and they're so excited, and it's good to see that energy coming into a film. You know what I mean? So I'm actually really excited about this. But reshoots happen, and when you lose a director like that, and another director comes in,
it's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen.
Which we knew going into the directing change that was going to happen anyway.
So I do like Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder's always been known for his glamour, amazing, gorgeous shots, and not so much storytelling, where Josh Whedon has an ability to have a huge cast and somehow make the story feel individual to all of them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Avengers was the first of its kind, because how are we going to share screen time for that? But you really couldn't pick out a crucial main character in the first Avengers, because everybody got enough screen time. So.
And they're all big name actors too, so that was a big worry.
So I'm actually really excited to see what they do, and you know what I mean. This can happen two ways. This can either blend well, or it can be a crash.
I do think, though, and let's be honest, I think we both can agree. As much as we would love to see that shared time of all characters, they probably will focus on the one that has already gotten the praise. It's probably going to be Batman, who's really getting focused on. Maybe some Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonder Woman got some good buzz after that movie, but I don't know if too much was already maybe filmed by the time Wonder Woman came.
I feel like with the reshoots, I also think it has to do with the very next two movies we're getting are Aquaman and Flash.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to introduce them too.
You have to sell them
and make us like them. Already in the trailers, I'm seeing Aquaman. They're humanizing him, and I really do like that. So, of course, we're both excited for this film. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna wear my Aquaman shirt, that day. You know what I mean? So, real quick before we jump into any other Aquaman news, though, do you think Ocean Master is going to be introduced in Justice League in any capacity?
Yes, I do think so. I think before we see Aquaman join the Justice League, we have to get a small scene in Atlantis. You know what I mean? I think that's a given. I do think we're going to see quite a few characters, maybe not just Ocean Master.
I really, really like Ocean Master as a villain, and to hear that Black Mantis is going to be the villain of the Aquaman movie. Ocean Master's in it, but I'm wondering how they're going to handle that. And I really like him as a character, so I'm curious.
See, my theory behind that is I think Black Mantis is going to be the face of the villain, but Ocean Master is going to be that background,
Batman Begins it.
Yeah, and then the second movie will be Ocean Master.
Gotcha.
But speaking of Aquaman, apparently James Wan says that this movie is way more difficult than he was anticipating the film.
I did hear I hear that he doesn't like CG.
He doesn't.
He wants to film underwater. That's difficult, man.
Yeah.
Funny enough, can you remember the first ever movie that used underwater shots?
No.
Creature of the Black Lagoon in the 1940s. And even then, it was super difficult to do. It hasn't gotten any easier. Underwater scenes are very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Try acting underwater, keeping your eyes open, and seeming like this doesn't bother you, that you have pressures of water on your face. So yeah, absolutely. Do you think he's crazy for going this non-CG route?
Yeah.
Only reason I don't is, do you remember a little movie, The Spirit? It was so good.
No, I
That
don't.
was a joke. It was terrible. It was the one with Frank Miller directed with Samuel Jackson with a superhero. But Eva Mendes is in the movie. She has a phobia of water. So she had an underwater scene and they had to CGI the whole thing. It looks utterly horrible. So
Spirit came out a while ago too, though, didn't it?
It did.
So CGI has come a long way.
It has.
I mean, look at every Marvel movie is 90% CGI.
Yeah, and they've gotten better. But it also...
I do agree, though.
At the end of the day, I'm always going to be a huge fan of practical effects. So, and I feel like he's also an amazing director to take this on. But with that being said, everything else he's directed, he tries to avoid CGI as much as he can. And actually hiring contortionists or people with weird body structures to get the actual scene he wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think it's going to be hard because if you remember in Batman v Superman, the scene with Aquaman in it, it looked like he was holding his breath.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to hold his breath underwater. And I think that that's where the difficulty is going to come. You have a bunch of Atlanteans that don't need to hold their breath. And it's going to pretty much be obvious that they're holding their breath because what are you going to have them doing?
I'm hoping that when they're actually having like dialogue underwater, it will be the whole... You know what I mean? You remember, let's talk about a movie everybody loves, Phantom Menace, where the Gungans had that bubble where they could go in and there was oxygen in there and all that. Hoping that's what their under Atlantis kind of looks like, so you can avoid a lot of underwater scenes.
Okay.
When they go in Atlantis, it's pretty much dry land in there.
Okay. Because the other problem that I think they're going to have is Aquaman's quick underwater.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a slow dude. He's almost as fast as Superman.
He is in the water,
yeah. And even above land, he's a really quick guy still.
Yeah.
I think, though, and you would know this too, when you're underwater, it's hard to move.
Yep.
Really quickly, it's
your
really
body
hard.
doesn't move the way you want to underwater.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I think it'd be really hard to also sell those fight scenes.
Water is a tough thing to do. You're always going to be worried. It's going to take longer to film. Your hair's not going to do what you want under it. You're absolutely right. So I'm still excited. But with Black Mantis being a villain, I feel like a lot of the movie's going to take place on land. You know what I mean? Because he's not an Atlantean.
He is not. No.
You know what I mean? He has a submarine as suit on, pretty much.
That's true.
So still don't know who's casted for him yet.
No, they didn't announce that yet. Rumors, but there's never been an official announcement.
Should be me. I'm going to do it.
Yeah?
Yep.
I'll be Aqualad.
Ooh. I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like that. You are my son.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what we can do.
Fantastic. So, on from DC news over to not DC news.
Yeah, some Marvel news. Looks like we got our release dates. Kind of a release date. It's more placeholder dates for the Spider-Man spin-off movies for Silver and Black, which is Silver Sable and Black Cat. For those of you who don't know Silver, I'm sure Black was pretty obvious.
Black Cat?
Yeah.
Want to be Catwoman?
Yes.
Alicia Hardy.
Now, one thing I thought was really cool was that they're using Gina Prince Bithwood, I believe, or Brithwood, I believe.
Bless you. You want me to get you a tissue?
Is her last name? Which I thought was nice that they're going with a female director for this. Do you think Wonder Woman had anything to do with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not saying that it's going to hurt. What do you think of this? Are you even excited?
No.
Either am I.
I heard what the storyline's going to be. Silver Sable is going to lead a group of mercenaries that basically hunt down villains, burglars, stuff like that. Black Cat's going to be a burglar, which I don't remember her being an anti-hero in the comics.
Oh, she was, definitely.
Was she? Mm-hmm. Okay. I couldn't remember, to be completely honest with you.
She, in every way, and people get so mad, the reason I've never liked Black Cat is she's almost verbatim Catwoman.
Yeah.
Thief, legitimately has a love interest with him, and that's why once in a while she team up with him. At least you don't know her in alliances. Really not a fan. The only difference is the super serum she has in her. I am not at all excited for this, and I feel like this is a really bold choice. Like, making Captain Marvel, I thought, was one of the bolder choices for Marvel.
Well, this isn't Marvel. This
is Sony. I agree. Making that, but I was like, okay, you know what? That still can tie into this universe big time. I feel like Sony, now you got the Venom thing coming out, and now you have this. Like, I can't see people lining up for a Black Cat Silver Sable movie. Like,
I don't either.
I remember being annoyed with their episodes on the animated series, like watching them.
I think it's also going to be really hard to sell. Your first trailer better be amazing when you first show this. Like, it can't have any hiccups.
No.
Because that's...
all I keep picturing in my head is the Halle Berry Catwoman movie. Like, that's all
I do think this is already going to be an uphill battle for them. And I'm curious if Marvel is letting them do their own spin-off stuff. And they're like, if your stuff does well on its own, we will incorporate it into our big Marvel universe. But I don't see this doing well.
No.
And it's coming out in 2019, which
Is not very far away.
No.
Venom is what, next year, right?
Venom's next year.
And they cast that guy from Rogue One in it, and they say he's playing a huge Spider-Man character, but they haven't announced who yet.
Which guy from Rogue One?
The one that had the information. Real skinny dude, always with a hat. Rogue One, the one that the father gave the message to.
Okay.
He's been casted in Venom in a huge part, so I'm wondering what character he's going to play and why they're like teasing it like that.
Yeah.
So that to me is the only thing that can really save a Black Cat Silver Sable movie is the villains.
And the casting.
Yeah. And I feel like you better put in some really well-known Spider-Man villains or people are not going to be interested at all. If you go in there with the Chameleon, no one's going to care, okay? If you go in there with Flathead or Hammerhead, no one's going to care. You need to go in there with some mainstream villains.
The problem, too, though, is because of Marvel's universe that's going on with Spider-Man already established within it and Sony doing their own side stuff, there are some villains that I'm assuming Sony can't use. Think about it. We just had Vulture. I'm assuming that means Sony can't use Vulture.
Not to mention, there was a hint to two other villains in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
One of them was in the trailer, the Shocker, which we already
Scorpion.
did. And then I wasn't going to say Scorpion because it was after credit scene, you jerk.
I'm sorry.
But there's two villains right there that have been ready set up in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So it's to me, it's tough. I'm thinking Mysterio is somebody they still haven't used. I'm thinking that's who this guy is from Rogue One. Obviously going to be Mysterio, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know who he could be villain-wise other than maybe... Because he doesn't have a big physical presence. Maybe Chameleon. I'm not a big fan either. But I can't see him being Cassidy or Carnage. You know what I mean?
No, that'd be terrible.
You definitely need someone who has that crazy and can kind of sell the role a little more. I don't know if he would be able to sell Cassidy very much, especially going up against someone like Tom Hardy, who's going to be
huge.
Yeah.
I can't see who the villain for this Black Cat movie would be.
I don't see Mysterio, and here's my only reason why, is because I really feel like Marvel probably already has certain villains that they wanted, and it wouldn't surprise me if things like Doc Ock, Mysterio, the Sinister Six, they're saving.
Rhino, they'll probably want to bring back into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some really dumb Spider-Man villains that they get pulled from, which I'm hoping doesn't happen, like Arachnid Man, and
I agree.
So,
you know who what was it, Vamp? What's his name?
Morpheus?
Oh, Morpheus, yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing him.
No, there is a deleted scene from Blade that's never come out where he shows up at the end. So was this Snipes film?
Oh, yeah, because they were going to tie it in with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading about that, or hearing someone talk about it.
Filmed it, cast it, never came out who was casted as him, and the deleted scene is never, it's like been rumored that it was destroyed. But yeah.
I remember
I'm really curious about
because I remember he was going to start the established universe that like these things are together, and he just last minute, I guess they just decided not to. But Marvel, Disney, they're going to do what they have to. That's why Disney's trying to get their stuff off Netflix.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And literally, even before you said the notes, me and my wife were discussing this. I don't care how much the service is. I am not doing it. No.
No?
No.
Why not?
I'm so tired of everybody having a streaming service now.
I do agree with that part. It is starting to get to a point where I'm almost going to pay for the same price as cable.
Yeah, the whole point of me getting rid of cable and getting only Netflix and Hulu. No, let's not lie, I steal your Hulu. Netflix and my WWE Network is so I can avoid them cable costs. And if I have to pay for another service, not to mention, I do not think Disney's doing a $10 a month price.
No.
You know what I mean? Not with their lineup.
I think it depends. I think if Disney is going to do what Netflix and all does, where they take stuff in and out, like if something's out of the vault, okay, it's on Netflix for a short period of time, then it goes away. I think then maybe I could see it being like that. But if it's their entire library constantly up, then yeah, I can see that.
That's the only way. Excuse me, by the way. This is the only way I could co-sign with this. Anybody who knows I'm a wrestling fan. I'm wearing a wrestling shirt for goodness sakes right now. The WWE Network, $10 a month, which could be pricey to some people, but that has everything. Every pay-per-view from the beginning of time, every Raw, SmackDown. To me, that's worth it. And I only way I could pay that for Disney is I want to see every Disney movie out there. You know what I mean? I want to be able to watch The Rescuers Down Under, and then be able to go watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then Tangled on the same day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that. Netflix is in negotiations to keep Disney stuff on there. I can imagine that there would be quite a few people who might leave Netflix if they lost the Disney stuff. I don't think Disney makes or breaks Netflix, but I will say you have to consider what Disney makes up. The Star Wars movies that are on there, that also includes the animated series.
Yep.
You also have to think of everything Marvel.
Yep.
Which would then make you wonder, does that mean
Daredevil? Think about the kids section by itself.
Yep.
On MTL. And that, to me, I'm getting a little older. I'm getting a little older, and I've really kind of gotten out of Disney as much as I used to really like it. But I only could see that for the kids. But I could see the kids both have their own little Netflix channels, and I could see that thing just getting emptied out, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With just all the Disney shows on there and everything like that.
So, what do you think? Do you think this is smart for Disney?
I mean, maybe it's smart. If it does well, I'm sure it will do well. It's Disney. I'm just personally annoyed because it's like one of the best things about Netflix is you had Fox shows on there, you had Disney shows on there. You know what I mean? I can watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Flash on Disney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can watch Once Upon a Time and something that also plays on HBO. You know, that's one of the best things about Netflix. And when you have these people start pulling out to do their own stream service, one, it makes Netflix not as valuable, even though I do love their Netflix original. And two, it's like, it starts feeling money hungry again. Like, you know, everybody wants a bigger slice of the pie.
I agree.
You know, and at the end of the day, I understand this Hollywood is a money-making organization, but at the end of the day, don't you want to have your fans experience and enjoy something? You know what I mean?
No.
No, they don't.
They want money.
They're jerks.
They don't care if how they're getting it. But James Cameron, he cares.
Does he?
He does.
He's a jerk, man.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that?
He is, but he's a hell of a director, but a jerk. No, there's, he's married to Sarah Connor in Terminator 2.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, while they were filming, apparently he was like really mean to her the entire time. We're like, Arnold, calm down. Yeah, you're like, but yeah. So you got some Cameron news?
Yeah, apparently he's hoping to bring Terminator back to what he wanted it to be with this new reboot that he's doing. He just recently got the licensing back.
If anybody can do it, it's him. As much as I hate Avatar, and I've mentioned it 1,000 times how much I hate that film, he made an amazing alien movie, Aliens, and he has single-handedly made the best 2 Terminator films. You know what I mean? So I can absolutely... And plus, Terminator 2 is what started that whole idea of sequels can be way better than the first one. You know what I mean? And if he brings that same magic to it, like I can't see this going wrong.
I agree. But I think it has to be a true reboot as well. A lot of people... Whenever they talk about Terminator, they talk about rebooting it, and somehow they slip it into the timeline that already exists. I think they have to say, forget it. Don't tie Arnold into it. I know you want to, but don't.
At the end of the day, it's getting harder and harder to explain Arnold being old as a Terminator.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I didn't hate Genesis like everybody else did, but it definitely, like you said, it was forced to fit in that timeline, and it almost hurt. So. I agree. It would have to be a reboot of the franchise of some sort.
Now, he did say that he wants this to say something, and he said that things are really different now from when the second movie and the first movie were filmed. It was like a lot of the stuff that they made up for the second and first movie now are real. You know what I mean? Like, we have drones. We have robots. And he was like, I really want to... He said that he wanted to make a story that kind of fit and made people worry about today's society more than what it was then. Because before, it was the scare of technology taking over.
Not to mention, we passed Judgment Day already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy, at the end of the day, he might not be a decent person, and he might have made one of the most overrated films of all time, but he is a brilliant director. You know what I mean? And he knows characters, and he knows how... and even if I can say I'm not a fan of Avatar, he still made me feel for this alien race. You know what I mean? He has an ability to make you care for things you didn't think you would.
I agree.
And it's impressive. At the end of the day, he got Arnold to pull emotion out of you like no one else at the end of Terminator 2. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. When Arnold turns to him and says, "Now I know why you cry, it's just something I can't do," you feel it. You feel it right there. So I'm actually excited to see him. And like you said, this is his baby. This is something he wants to do. He did the best 2 Terminator movies, the first 2.
We both agree that we don't want this to tie into anything previously. It needs to be a full reboot. What else do we want to see from this? Who would we like to see in it?
Well, jeez. As the Terminator, or I would have to see the direction of the film, because I don't see him doing a remake of the first one. I don't see him doing the same characters. You know what I mean?
I do also think I don't see him doing the Kyle Reese comes back from the future, because that's one of the things that hurt Terminator when you really look at it. The fact that these certain events, no matter what you did with the timeline, had to take place.
Not to mention, one of the best things about Terminator was that original shock factor of, Kyle Reese is John Connor's father. He sent his own father back in time. You know what I mean? You gotta redo the twist. As much as people didn't like the Tim Burton remake, Planet of the Apes, he at least had the foresight to say, "Let me not do the same twist ending." You know what I mean? So you have to come up with something new, an original idea. So if anything, I want to see a more escalated war of some sort. You know what I mean? Something bigger end, Explain to me why, if going back in time to kill this one person would help you win a war, why only send one robot? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to see, I think rather than start in the middle of the timeline, start where it begins. You know what I mean? Really show why the war started. Because even when they went into the future, before John Connor sent Kyle Reese back, they did Salvation. Was that the one? When they did Salvation, we still didn't see,
It jumped into the war had already existed.
And even that, I really felt like we didn't see the bulk of the forces of the Terminators. You know what? You know what I mean? Like they always only showed a handful of the robots and maybe one giant one for the shock factor, but they never really showed me what they showed in the very first Terminator opening with all those T-1s marching.
The desolated land. I agree with you. We were promised in Salvation a huge war, and it was still a very small-scale movie.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it had the biggest budget out of all the Terminators. And it did feel very small-scale, you know what I mean? It almost felt desolate. Like, that land was nothing. Like, you had a whole world that's now controlled by these robots, and that world felt so empty. That was one of the biggest issues with Salvation. Besides Christian Bale yelling at that guy.
That poor guy. You think?
My favorite part of that is, you're a real nice guy, you really are, but you're stupid, man.
Well, Terminator Salvation could not save Terminator.
No, it definitely could.
Good title, though.
What? It was something.
So,
but it was not the reboot we wanted.
It was not.
No.
What do you think for Hellboy?
I'm slowly getting interested in this reboot.
Yeah. What do you think the title was going to be? Because we got the title.
I was thinking it was going to be something huge. And when I heard the new title, man, it hit me, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You think a little bold, isn't it?
I think this may be the edgiest thing they could have done. So if you're curious what the title for the new Hellboy movie is, and you thought Hellboy, you are correct.
You are right.
It is just Hellboy.
Weird?
I actually do think it's weird, and here's why. I think one is going to make seeing the movie a lot more difficult, because I think when the movie comes out, when people ask, hey, do you have the Hellboy movie, it's going to lead to is it the old one, the new one? And for people that don't know the series, they're not going to know, is it the new one I want, or is it the old one?
I was working at a movie store when Fast and Furious 4 came out, which was called Fast and Furious. It was so confusing when people were really, like you said, asking. Not to mention, the covers were the same covers. They were reversed. Okay, so I agree with you. I feel like, granted, this is a reboot, so they don't want to tie it in, but I feel like anything would have been a little...
I think not having a number and just having, like, Hellboy and the Golden Army, as an example. That's not, obviously, that's the title of the second movie, but just something like that would have been a good...
You know what I mean? Hellboy, Blood and Iron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hellboy, Spawn and Satan.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. You can use that. You're welcome. So, we got a casting for it. The Red Queen.
Yes.
Or is that it? The Blood Queen or the Scream Queen? Red Queen.
I thought it was red, but...
It might be the Red Queen.
You're making me question it now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Red
Okay.
Queen. How do you feel? Oh, we should say it. Muna, what's her name? Muna Djokovic.
Yeah.
From Resident Evil 1 through, 45 now?
I don't know. I don't even know why they... I honestly wouldn't have probably casted anyone from those movies because you're not selling them off of the name.
Originally, back in the day, in her prime, I feel like she was pretty good for what she did, what she was casted. It was play that real tough girl that looks like she could fight. Now, I agree with you. Now, by this point, her name's kind of been drugged through the dirt doing all the Resident Evil movies. Obviously, she was casted for a reason, though.
I'm hoping she was casted for a good reason. Let's be honest, when it comes to these superhero movies, up until Disney's Marvel, they've really been mediocre, you know what I mean? And Hellboy 2 was way better than the first Hellboy. I honestly still consider Hellboy 2 to be one of the best comic book movies to ever come out.
I agree with you. Hellboy 2 is a fantastic film.
And I'm hoping that this movie can live up to that, and if not, exceed it. I don't really expect it to be better than Hellboy 2. I think that's a really high bar to set yourself to pass, and I think if you try to do that, you might be setting yourself up for failure. But I do think that they need to make sure that they have strong casting. I don't know if she's a good pick. And like I said, for me, it's strictly because of Resident Evil. I don't see her as that actress or actress that can sell tickets anymore.
It is, to me, it's weird for me, in her choice at least, to go from Resident Evil to this now. She's going to get typecasted the rest of her life now. It's over for you.
Well, I mean, that's almost what happened to Chris Evans. I mean, he was always in comic book movies.
Yep.
But, so I am excited for it. I'm going to see it, obviously. I'm hoping she does well, but...
I got to see the first trailer. I'm somebody that... It's tough. It's like, I was excited for the Amazing Spider-Man movies because how Spider-Man 3 ended off. Hellboy ended on an amazing note. Golden Army was great, so to me, I know I'm going to go in and nitpick. And I don't want to do that. It's unfair.
I agree. But I think that has also happened to the Spider-Man movies. You know what I mean? It's going to happen to anything where there's been multiple iterations of it. Unfortunately, Spider-Man has gotten the most, and if Tom Holland leaves the MCU, we might be getting another reboot of Spider-Man.
Although I'm excited to see somebody's idea, different from the original director, Benicio. I'm excited for this film. I'm going to have to be persuaded by a trailer to see the direction they're going. Because at the end of the day, last time we had Marshall on, shout out to him, he'd mentioned the other two films weren't that close to the comics, but that's the only Hellboy I know is those films. I never read the comic. The only Hellboy comic I ever read was a crossover he did with Spawn. You know what I mean? So
I actually enjoy the Hellboy comics.
You can read, huh?
I do read.
Oh, that's crazy.
I read.
All right.
That's
good. You ever read Silence of the Lambs?
I have not, actually.
I hate that book.
Really? Why?
So boring.
Oh. Did you ever read The Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you want to...
Nah.
Oh, don't read it. It makes you want to kill yourself. That book is depressing. Really good book. Check it out if you can. But
Who's the monster in Silence of the Lamb, or the villain of such sort, or the
wasn't it Ted Bundy?
Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, Hannibal, yeah.
Weirdo.
Whatever. I love the Hannibal movies, and I love the TV series, which may actually be coming back for a fourth season.
What? That amazing series that was canceled for no reason?
Yeah, it was actually only canceled because people weren't watching it. But yeah, it was amazing. It won Emmys. It was
a really good series.
It got a lot of awards.
My wife didn't like it?
Really? Why?
She's a beautiful woman, but she is mean sometimes.
Why didn't she like it?
I don't know. She said she didn't expect it to be that way. So she also isn't a fan of the Silence of the Lambs movie.
See, I loved that show. I have all 3 seasons on Blu-ray. I didn't watch season 3 still. It's actually still wrapped. I've never seen it because I just don't...
You don't want it to end, man.
Yeah, I don't. Once I watch it, it's going to end on a cliffhanger because it wasn't that they planned for it to end. It got canceled.
Yeah.
So
it is unfortunate, but so tell me, why might it be coming back?
Apparently, it's like talks, obviously, but some of the directors and all have been talking about maybe bringing it back. They haven't even said where it's going to come back. I don't know if it's even going to be the same station. Netflix, I know, was talking about it for a while.
That'd be nice to have a Netflix, a little more violent.
Yeah, but I think it's going to hopefully have the same actors and everything.
The guy who played Hannibal was incredible.
Mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mads is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, if you took it, he's what made that show, in my opinion.
I agree. I think him and Bill.
Yeah, and to be honest, I still don't know his actual voice. To be honest. You know what I mean? He switches up in so many films.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for it. I hope this happens in some way, shape, or form, and I'm hoping that it's good. Like, I hope that they don't just do it and half-ass it.
Arrested Development last season. Oh, it was terrible, man.
Yeah. And weren't we supposed to get more seasons after that?
I hope not. Arrested Development?
Yeah, I thought I heard they were doing 3 seasons and a movie.
It was so bad last season when I came back from Netflix. So bad. Couldn't finish it.
It sucks, too, because I loved Arrested Development.
Such a good show.
One of the most clever shows I've ever seen.
It was.
But
then it insisted on itself, you know what I mean?
Always.
Almost like they just needed to happen. Just like Japan needs Dragon Quest. Boom! That's what I do. That is what I do.
Yeah, so Dragon Quest 11, which we've talked about now for 3 weeks in a row.
It's because Dragon Quest is an important topic, man.
This thing is just blowing up, though.
It is so funny. I literally watch a lot of YouTube, because I do enjoy YouTube. And hopefully if you're listening to this, you enjoy it too. But I'm watching a lot of like underappreciated RPGs or the best JRPGs, and Dragon Quest always on that list, man.
Yeah, it is a really good
People
series.
really like that series, huh?
Yeah, especially in Japan, which I know you were looking forward to Dragon Quest for the Switch.
Yes.
Looks like they're having some difficulties with it.
What? No, why?
Yeah, they didn't say why, but apparently the development team came out and said that the Switch version seems to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
Now, what do you think that could mean?
I think it's the visuals.
That's exactly the director. Even before I read it in your notes, it's the only thing to me that would make sense. I think you want a pretty game on the Switch, but you know what I mean, there's no comparing the hardware from a PS4 and Xbox One to a Switch. It's not, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
I agree. And I think the problem, too, is a lot of people that already reviewed Dragon Quest XI, the Japanese version, said that one of the best things about that game is it never drops frame rate. It is always smooth.
Frame rate is a big issue. Back in the day, you know what I mean, you had your lip syncs, that's what people focused on, or the way certain things went. Frame rate is what everybody's talking about now. And it's true. When you go back and play a game with a frame rate issue, it does take you out of the experience.
Yeah.
I know that was one of the big things they announced when they re-released BioShock was frame rate issue was fixed for the re-release of it. And it made the whole game a better experience.
I agree with that, actually.
You know what I mean? If that's what everybody's enjoying and that's the issue you're getting on the Switch, you know what I mean? Now you're disappointing a legion of fans that had to pay it on the Switch because they made the mistake of only owning a Switch.
So my thing is, I'm curious if they can't get it. Obviously, they can't get it to look the way it looks and keep that frame rate on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. They're obviously going to want to keep that solid frame rate, but I'm wondering how bad the game has to look to keep that frame rate. Because they said that it's still going to come out on the Switch. They're still going to push it out, no matter what. They said that they don't have a date. They don't want to even give a window. It will come when it's ready. But what do you think is going to happen with this thing, man? Like, do you think it's going to just basically be sent out to die when it does come out because it's going to look so much worse than the original?
I don't know if it's going to look so much worse. I feel like they're going to have to nitpick and cut where they have to, where it won't be
no shadows.
Well, the thing I always mention is Borderlands 2 on the Vita versus everything else that came out. The game is still gorgeous. The things they did take out were things you don't really notice. You know what I mean? Until you do a side-to-side comparison.
And I think that's something that they have to be careful with, too. because that's something a lot of people have been doing with the Switch. Whenever a game comes out,
everybody always does a side-by-side comparison. They've been showing side-by comparisons on Sonic Mania, which to me looks exactly the same on everything, but they still had to do their side-by-sides.
Yes, and I'm sure someone saw something.
Yeah. I mean, there was an extra freckle here,
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing, It's
Now, does this make you still want to pick it up for the Switch,
absolutely
or you leaning more towards the PS4?
still on the Switch, man.
Really?
One thing I do like about the Switch, and I know I've complained about it before, although I don't consider it my portable system, although I'll always take my DS or my Vita out before the Switch. I do like getting games on it that come out on anything else because I do have that option of making it a portable game if I need to.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the only game I picked over getting it on the Switch for my PS4 was the new wrestling game coming out, only because this is the first time they're releasing a wrestling game on a Nintendo thing in like 3 consoles. So I'm going to give it to let's see what it looks like before I make any decisions.
Okay. I can.
So I'll be honest, it would have to be a huge, extreme, like, night and day difference for me not to pick it up on the Switch.
Okay, I can understand that. I'm definitely.
See, night and day is the comparison because day and night are completely different.
I did get that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that I'm obviously going to get it for my PS4, but I do hope that the Switch version is good enough that people that pick it up on the Switch don't feel like they got a lesser version.
Feel like they got gypped. What I'm more worried about is the 360 versions of things that were on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got gypped because what was on the 360 versus what came out on the Wii were 2 different games. You know what I mean? And they were like, if you bought Spider-Man 3 on the Xbox 360 or the PS3, you got an actual game. That web streaming experience on the Wii was just horrendous. So that would be the extreme where, I'm going to avoid the Switch version, but I don't see that happening.
All right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully we don't have to wait too long.
It's not like I can only play it in dock mode. You know what I mean? Or handheld mode. They'll never do that to me. Not Nintendo.
They have.
What are you talking about?
A game came out, or it's coming out. I'm sorry, called Severed.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually already out on the Vita, and it went to mobile. It is a touchscreen game. It's an RPG, though. Really cool. Went to the Switch. It is only usable undocked in handheld mode.
I don't believe you, sir.
It is.
I don't believe you.
I think you should go up and buy it.
All right. Maybe you should take your pants off. You look a little nicer. All right. Well, obviously, with it being touchscreen, it's very hard to play it in dock mode. Is that why you think it is handheld mode only?
I do think it's because of the touchscreen function, which I 100% get. My problem with this isn't that. It's that I think now you've just opened the door to allowing other developers to go, you know what? Oh, I don't need to make the game work on the handheld. Or, oh, I don't need it to work in the dock. I can do one or the other.
I agree. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if a game came out and said, hey, prime example, if they did, let's say they announced Red Dead Revolver 2 and said, hey, we're putting it on the Switch. I wouldn't mind if they said, hey, there's no way this is going to run undocked. You're going to have to play this docked. I apologize. To me, that would be okay. If it ever happens opposite, I would be furious. You know what I mean? Which I can see this game be that, yeah. But I'm talking about on actual games. Like, you know what I mean?
The next Metroid that comes out, they're like, only handheld.
Only handheld. That would be really annoying. I know one of my biggest complaints is for the Wii U, they released Marvel Battle Fights, and that was literally only on the gamepad. You could only play it. The TV just gave you a picture of the Marvel characters. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I bought a console game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. But I honestly really feel like this only happened because this is a touchscreen game.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this doesn't open the floodgates. It doesn't turn into every company doing it. But we'll see.
The Switch is still new. Let's see this happen. We also got to see sales for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This doesn't do well sale-wise. The issue is everything does well sale-wise.
Yeah.
On the Switch. Because there's nothing out for right now.
That's true. Unless the Switch can't be sold anymore.
Why would the Switch be able to be sold anymore?
Well, currently Nintendo might
Don't lie to me, son.
Nintendo
Got all these lies today. I don't like it.
in a lawsuit with a company called Gamevice. They claimed that
Gamevice? I've never heard of Gamevice.
I actually never heard of them until this.
What did Gamevice do for me?
They made some tablet called the WikiPad.
Yeah, well, you're WikiPad. Continue.
But they claimed that Nintendo has violated one of its patents, and it had to do with the Joy-Cons.
Okay.
Gamevice made a detachable controller for the WikiPad. So you would slide the WikiPad in, you would have a controller you could play. They're saying that Nintendo has violated the patent by making the Joy-Con. What they're requesting is that Nintendo pay for damages, so they want the money that they believe that the Nintendo Switch has stolen from them, and they want the Nintendo Switch banned from being able to be sold. I don't think this is even going to
Are you kidding me? No.
work.
You've realized how much Nintendo is worth?
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo will throw money at everywhere they have to for making this go away.
I also did some research, and apparently they haven't even sold a WikiPad that hasn't even been manufactured since 2013. So for them now to just come out and do this, you know what it is. They're seeing Nintendo's making a lot of money, and they want some.
Everything that comes out huge, people always want to try to buy. And don't get me wrong, a lot of lawsuits are very important. You know what I mean? If you're hurt, you're damaged, you have the right to sue. That is your American right. It's a beautiful thing. But these people that sued Grand Theft Auto 5 because they used their likeness, you know what I mean? Or somebody that bought a rated M game for their kid and then said their kid getting violent, I'm suing them. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? But okay, we're going to address this. That this company is doing.
I wasn't going to make this news because I don't even think this is something they're going to win. But the reason I wanted to make it news was because this is something that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with companies like Grand Theft Auto, who they are pretty much parody of real life people sometimes. So what worries me about it isn't that it's happening. It's that what if one day one of these companies win? Because that's all it takes is one company to win one of these stupid claims, and then it's a domino effect where the rest of these companies now are like, oh, we can do this.
I've went on a tangent before about how much I hate patents and how I think it's a ridiculous thing. It's something that could legit happen, but you know what I mean? I don't see it happening. I don't either. Against a company that would actually matter to make news, I don't see it happening. Because even Rockstar, they get sued crazily, majority of the time they settle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all somebody needs sometimes. You just got to give the baby a pacifier and they'll shut up. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if this does go to court, all Nintendo's going to do is, well, how much you want for to leave me alone for a week? Okay? Because that's exactly what it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not to mention, Nintendo was known to be dirty before. Remember why the PlayStation exists? Because Nintendo was like,
last minute change.
you know what? We're Nintendo. We're out, okay? Philips is the way to go. You know what I mean?
I wonder if Nintendo regrets that.
I can't. You know what? At the end of the day, although Sony has become their biggest competition, although Sony has now outsold them, you know what I mean, 4 consecutive systems in a row, I still feel like Nintendo is an OG that's still hanging around. So they're like, you know what? You two big guys on the street right now are cool, but we've been here since the old days. All right.
We knocked out Sega. We knocked out Atari.
Right, it's like, and not to mention, it's like as much as Nintendo, like other companies make fun of Nintendo, like, oh, look how kid friendly it is. Sony and Microsoft have always. They see something working for Nintendo, they copy that formula.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And
I don't know if that will happen this time.
I don't see it happening, but the reason I wanted to bring it up is I'm sure you heard Atari is releasing a new system.
I didn't actually.
It is a nostalgia system. It's made out of wood, like the original Atari.
Okay.
It has the original library built in, and it's going to play new games.
Okay.
They haven't announced what games it is yet, and we still don't even know what the controller looks like.
Oh, it's going to be that shitty wheel with the number pad again.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's funny to me that Nintendo releases the NES Classic. It's a huge deal. All of a sudden, Sega releases the Flashback. You know what I mean? Granted, Sega had 1,000 of their mini systems before, but they redesigned it so it's a smaller Sega. You know what I mean? With a working cartridge all of a sudden. So, and now the Atari's coming out with that. So, as much as, Nintendo is that low guy on the totem pole right now, it's still, you know what I mean? It has its people that, boost its little ego every once in a while that want that little piece of the pie.
I can agree with that. I mean, Nintendo's nothing to laugh at, especially when we got some more third parties saying that they're going to pitch in. I don't know if you saw EA and 2K.
You're 2K.
EA and 2K just said that they were going to support the Switch now.
Well, we on our little podcast, our little humble podcast, when the Switch was coming out, we said it. If this does well in sales, all these people right now that were bashing it, we're going to come back saying, oh yeah, we'll put it. It was exactly the same thing that happened on the Wii. The Wii
I agree.
took off, and everybody and their mother wanted to.
However, the Wii still had the problem where none of the games it got were really good, unless they were from Nintendo directly.
I agree.
Now, that's my worry going into the Switch, because I don't see Star Wars Battlefront 2 being on the Switch still.
Yeah,
I don't see the Switch being able to run XCOM 2.
I'm hoping, and we've had this discussion before, Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 is getting ported over to the Switch.
Yes, that actually was shortly announced after we talked about it on our little podcast.
And it's legitimately because 7 can't run. Capcom said, so 7's not going to work. We're giving you Revelations 1 and 2 in a pack. I want things like that. I think that is an amazing deal. You know what I mean? So,
while I agree with you, but then I feel like you're running then into the issue of, did you now just buy this console to get ports of older
well, I'm not just talking about ports in general. I'm talking about different experiences on that. You know what I mean? Say somebody had a Wii U. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They never got to play Revelations 2. Now this might be a new opportunity for them. But let's say the next Star Wars Battlefront comes out. Let's get a new Star Wars. What was that? A really popular series that came out for the GameCube. Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
It's another Rogue Squadron.
I can agree with that. Spin-off titles that are just made for the Switch.
And I really appreciate it. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the GameCube. We had a lot of nice spin-off titles for it, and for certain games on the Wii.
See, I feel like the only problem with that is, I feel like the Switch right now won't get that because the numbers aren't there yet. Now that they're not getting there, because they are selling, but they're only at, I think, 4.5 million was the last time we talked about it. Mm-hmm. Was their last official announcement that they're at. I mean, while that's still good, especially year-to-date with other consoles, that when you look at them, it's really hard to convince a company to be like, let's make one game exclusively for this that only can sell at max, and that's if it has 100% sell-through, which isn't going to happen, 4.5 million, or we could put it on the PS4, which has 60 million, and even if we sell 10 million, we made more money than putting on the Switch. And I just feel like that's what's going to hurt the Switch until the numbers get there for the units.
I honestly feel like this whole holding back stock of it helps and it hurts. Yeah. It does make that big want for the system, but my issue is I went into GameStop today to pick up Sonic Mania, and behind the counter, please ask about our Switch bundles today.
Yep.
Okay, so you have Switches, and the only way I can buy it now is in the bundle I don't want. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree.
If you hold back your market like that, you have the risk of retailers doing stuff like that. Spitting in the face of your fans.
But I mean, that's also been a problem Nintendo has always done. They've always done that artificial demand of their consoles. They've done it since the Super NES, where they've held back Super NESs so that people think, oh, this is hard to find. I see one. Let me buy it, even though I don't really know if I want it, because I might not get this chance again. They did it with the Wii.
They tried it with the Wii U.
It just didn't work.
You know what I mean? I remember coming in. You guys have any Wii U's left? Yes, please. You want two? Like, what? What happened here?
I'll just take one. 12? You got it.
12, buddy? Here we go. There's actually a buy two, get one free deal going on with the Wii U's. So, like I said, it's... Nintendo has got a lot of catching up to do if it wants to keep relevant with these two. Do I see it surpassing the Xbox One day? Absolutely. Do I see it coming close to the PS4? No. Never going to happen.
Yeah.
Sales-wise, no.
I don't either.
Because even if they start catching up, Sony would be like, you know what? For the next 2 weeks, PS4s are $100. Deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something would happen. So
Yeah. Sony would do something.
Sony has done all the right decisions in this 8th generation now that they are just going to stay on top.
But that's what I'm hoping doesn't change for the next generation. I'm hoping we don't see that PS3 Sony again. Like when Sony first came out with PS3, they were like, oh, it's $600. Everyone was like, who's going to afford that? Oh, you'll get a second job to get a PS3. It's like...
And it does happen. Sometimes you get that ego because of what PS2 is still the highest selling system of all time.
Yep.
Granted, PS4 is coming close. It's getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they learn from their mistakes.
Which PlayStation did you say was the high selling?
PS2.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 3 for some reason. I was going to be no, 2.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
I was working at GameStop when 3 got released, man. I remember how sad that was.
It actually did outsell the Xbox 360 eventually. It did
but
take
I remember
a while.
when it came out. I'm telling you, I exactly remember it. The Wii and the PS3 came out around the same time. We could not hold on to a Wii to save our lives. But we'd come in and we'd be like, hey, you guys have any Wiis? No, but we got plenty of PS3s. And they would look at us like we had 4 heads.
You mean that George Foreman grill?
They're like,
No, thanks.
no, thank you. And then when somebody did make the mistake of buying a PS3 at launch, they went over to the game selection, which was 3 games. I just sat there. I felt so bad. So
They didn't even have the
I
trophy system.
really, you know what it was though? Sony had so many legs up on this system. They saw the mistakes Microsoft made, and they're like, let's just not do that.
Mm-hmm. They saw their own mistakes. They learned from them.
One of the things that you got to remember in the company is, yes, your software is expensive to make, it is, but you have to make it affordable for people to have. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think it's all about... And that was the problem with the PS3. They used that cell architecture. It was really hard to even port games over. Not just make games for your PS3, but port them over was really difficult. And it sucks when you hear people say, like, the game ran better on a console that's weaker than yours. And Sony gave you a Blu-ray player.
Yep.
It still didn't do well.
And what's comical, though, is I feel like not only just Sony, a lot of the video game market is kind of learning their lessons. There was talks when the PS4, Xbox One was coming out that we were going to get a price raised to $70 per game.
Yes.
And you know what? It came out that Sony was the first one that was like, no, we're going to keep the initial price of $60. And it made sense because that extra 10 is getting a little close to $100 per game. And that might dissuade people from like, you know what? I'm done.
A lot of people forget this, though, but that's what it was kind of like when the N64 was out. Games were $80 to like $100, somewhere over $100.
Yeah.
I remember Majora's Mask was $120 because you had to get that Rumble Pack thing with it.
And for the longest time, I remember thinking that was going to happen because every generation, the game prices were going up $10. You know what I mean? PlayStation 1 games were $40. PlayStation 2 games were $50. Then it was PlayStation 3 games for $60. And I think it was a smart decision from the three of those, the big three, to say, hey, $60 is that sweet point. Let's keep our games at that price range.
And some games are even coming out cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah, Sonic Mania. And it's because of that digital-only distribution. You know what I mean? Sonic Mania was only $20. Hellblade that I was playing last week for the podcast, that's only $30.
Talking about that, I did want to address that game.
Okay.
So, real quick, because we got to do our enthusiast picks, and some of us have to go to bed for work.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, is it true, if you die enough in that game, it starts you from the beginning?
Yes.
Wow.
So here's what I will say to that, though. One, the game isn't very difficult. At least I haven't experienced any part of it that's too difficult yet, or that I felt is unfair yet. And two, I don't remember what I was going to say for my second point.
Man, that was awkward.
Yeah.
Listeners.
I know.
Phew. Okay, well, I watched you play it because I'm weird and I like to feel like I'm close to you around.
The game's only 6 hours long.
Okay.
It's a much shorter game.
I watched it. There is no health bar.
There isn't.
And what I noticed about the game is it almost seems like you can't trust your own eyes in the game. Like you have to kind of look at things multiple different ways to see an actual entrance that you might have missed 1,000 times.
Well, that's actually the point of the game is it's actually addressing mental illness.
Okay. Do you feel that this is a step in the right direction for games?
I do, actually. I'm glad that it's not open world. I was really happy to hear that it's just a linear game, and the developers were like, we wanted to prove that we can make an AAA indie title. You know what I mean? It's cheaper, it's digital only, but man, that game is beautiful, controls well, the combat's great, and I really get invested into the story, looking for these runes. I thought it was really cool, and I think this is a good direction for video games. Will everyone agree with me? No, because the game isn't getting a physical release.
Right.
And there are some people that love their games physically.
Enough to spend $70.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you still didn't get a physical copy.
I still didn't get a physical copy. Kind of. I got a cartridge.
You're right.
Not a real one, though.
No. But are you interested in it? Do you feel like when you saw it, was it something that interested you, or were you kind of like, eh?
It does look interesting, but it isn't something I would put in my top priority right now. Like how you felt about Splatoon 2, I think that's how I would feel about it. You know what I mean? It is something that I was like, I enjoyed watching you play. I thought it was a gorgeous looking game, but I was just like, something I don't want to play right now. I'm not saying I won't want to play it eventually, you know what I mean? Let's not forget, I put down Final Fantasy 15 for months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Picked it up and finished it in that weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So it could easily happen.
Absolutely.
But,
what's your pick for the day, man? We're all curious.
Yeah, my enthusiasm.
They want to know. I want to know.
It's going to be a novel.
Sonic wants to know.
It's going to be a novel.
Oh, God, you're boring.
I know.
I'm sorry, it was not. Silence of the Lamb.
No.
Sonic Mania.
That's not even a book.
I don't know.
It is actually going to be The Road. If you're a fan of The Last of Us.
You talking about the Viggo Mortensen movie?
The book, though.
Oh, the book. Okay.
Yes. I mean, you could go watch the movie as well. The movie is just it's very good as too. But I would definitely check out The Road. It's a very emotional movie. I mean, book and movie. That is what they kind of use as a reference for The Last of Us. They said that what happened was they read that book, and that's where they got their inspiration for the game The Last of Us.
How long is the book?
The book is actually only about, I think it's 180 pages.
Difficult read?
No. I would say, you know, anyone can pretty much pick it up and read it. There aren't too many big words that you would have to look up the meaning or anything.
Does the author insist on himself?
No. Sounds like your kind of book.
Okay, for an example, have you ever read the Percy Jackson books?
No, I like good books.
Okay.
I'm good.
No, it's fine. I agree with you. I do like the idea of those books. I think it's good, but the author is so into himself in them. He thinks he's so witty, it makes me like,
that's my problem with a lot of books like that. Like Hunger Games. I read the first Hunger Games book because a friend of mine wanted me to read it, and I was like, this kind of doesn't make sense to me. Like, I really like the idea behind it, but it doesn't make sense. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, you know, you put these kids in the 72nd Hunger Games. If that's the wrong number, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it was the 72nd. Which means that this has been going on for 72 years. And these kids still aren't raised with the idea of, I may have to kill someone someday in my life. Like, they're in there and they're like, I don't really want to do it. It's like, I want you to know that if I lived in that world, as soon as I knew that was a thing that could happen to me, I would have been training my life for that moment.
My big issue with the Hunger Games is it is a rip-off of Battle Royale. And that author wrote every minute, and it drives me crazy. Every interview, she's like, is that a thing? Is that? So even George Lucas admitted to copying off of Hidden Fortress. Come on, man.
You know what? Let's this is an episode. We're actually dragging on. You have to get up for work soon.
I do, and I'm still going to play Sonic Mania. So
power to you.
Well, if you like what you hear, which of course you do, because, you know, who wouldn't?
Yes.
Who wouldn't? Please feel free to subscribe and hit that thumbs up.
Yes.
No, I'm serious. Hit the thumbs up.
Hit the like button.
Hit it right now.
We'll
wait. We'll wait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're going to wait.
We're going to wait until you do it. And I thank you.
Okay.
All right.
You can catch us on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and soon to be our website and iTunes.
And SoundCloud. You didn't say SoundCloud. I helped you out. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Let it go.
I thought I said it.
We're going to be trying something new also starting next week. We're going to try it this week, but somebody came over so late because I got done work late. We're going to start doing a little bit of challenges every once in a while on here.
Yes.
Some fun games, stuff like that. So if you have any ideas, something you want us to do, you know what I mean? Me cover Zabo Mayo the entire time we're doing the podcast. Something fun. I don't care. Send your ideas in. If not, we're going to have to come up with them, and it might be gross.
Next week, we may also have a special guest. M-Dog might be on to talk to us about the website that's coming up for us.
I haven't given you permission yet, Doug.
Okay.
All right. I'll wait and see how I feel next week.
But this is episode 36. I said 35. 36 of The Enthusiast, and we are gone.
Peace!
Yes, good. Now you're getting it.